Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to yet another edition of our webinar series, Starstruck. I'm Aruna Bahajra, Head of Customer Relations for HSBC India, and your host for the evening. And today I have the absolute pleasure and honor of presenting to you a very, very special personality. Think of any memorable song or background score that you've heard in the last 10 or 15 years. Chances are that our guest today would have had something to do with it. Well, today's guest is a part of a duo of composers in this iconic list of people. And his name is inextricably linked to that of his brother. When we look at their body of work, both brothers, they are musical sensations in their own right. And as a duo, you've seen their work in Bollywood films like Kaal, Kurban, Fashion, Chak De India, and many, many more. An accomplished singer, our guest today will have surely touched the chords of your heart with, with soulful numbers like Eh Khuda from Pathshala, Shukran Allah from Kurban, and would have got you dancing with Avi Avi from Band Baja Barat. He's also been a face of many high profile talent reality shows, talent reality shows like Indian Idol and The Voice. And without taking too much time away and keeping away from him, today is my absolute pleasure to host one of the brothers of this iconic duo. Please extend a warm welcome to Mr. Salim Merchant.
Thank you so much, Anurava. I'm really happy that I'm here on HSBC Starstruck, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Salim, very warm welcome. And again, I must confess that I'm sure for most of our viewers as well as for me, it's a starstruck moment. I've admired your work, and it's absolutely amazing to be able to interact with you here today. But just before we begin, Salim, just a few words for our viewers. There is a question box right below your screen. Please use it to ask any questions that you have, and I'll be happy to post them to Salim, and we'll see what he has to say about them. So without further ado, Salim, let's dive in.
Sure.
So you belong to a family which is steeped in musical tradition. So your father, Mr. Sadruddin Merchant, he's also been a legendary musician. So you and Suleiman would have grown up in a family of music, and that would have, I'm sure, would have given you some hints as to what you want to do in your life. So, but when was the point that you took the decision to go for the long haul?
Actually, honestly, Anu, when we grew up, when we were growing up, we didn't have toys. We had musical instruments. Our father was not just a composer, but later on in his career, he started manufacturing musical instruments. So he had a little workshop with bongos and congos, and he manufactured bongos, congos, and drum sets and percussion instruments. And later on, he started dealing with electronic music, electronic instruments like keyboards and amps. So when both me and Suleiman were born, we never had toys. We actually had, maracas and tambourines and bongos and like that kind of stuff as toys. Uh,
Wow.
it was pretty clear that we were, going to embrace music as our passion, and I
For a
never
second,
thought that
yes.
it'll turn into a profession, because we were studying music. As kids, we were studying music, and we were making sure that we enjoy our study, our academic study, as well as our music study. And I was learning piano and harmonium, and Suleiman was learning drums and percussion. And it was a very, like, an organic way of, we were just sort of, we embraced music as our hobby, and then it became our passion. And at the age of 13, I started, because I was learning piano and harmonium at the same time. We had a school band, and I was in ninth standard, and I started playing keyboards in my school band, and I started singing also. And then and Suleiman was just passing out. He had just passed out, and he was playing drums and doing, playing drums in his college. He had a band of his own. And when I passed out of school, Suleiman and I started, sort of making music at home just for fun. And one of those songs got recognized in the musician community. And everybody started appreciating a lot, and, not as Mr. Merchant's sons, but as Salim and Suleiman. And although Suleiman is older to me, we would have gone with the name of Suleiman and Salim, but people started calling it Salim Suleiman. People started calling us Salim Suleiman, and the industry gave us a lot of love. We started getting calls as session musicians. I started, towards the beginning of my career, I played with Pyarelal ji. I also played with Jatin Lalit as a musician, Ismail Darbar, and many other composers as a musician, and Suleiman did as well. And but we continued to make music together as a jodi, as a duo, for advertising. And our first entry to in music as a duo we started doing advertising work. We started doing a lot of
Wow.
jingles, and people started really liking our work. And as we never even thought that this is going to become like a career kind of a thing. We started playing in the music industry as passionate musicians, and of course it was turning into a profession slowly but surely. And we started getting calls for doing background scores. And I remember our first background score was a movie called Hamesha, which
Yeah.
then got nominated for Filmfare. And the story continued, and we never thought that okay, we'll start composing. Karte there was a producer who offered us a film to do music. And and we did that as well. Ram Gopal Verma called us to do Booth, and we did this score of Booth, which won a lot of awards, got a lot of recognition. I suddenly got a call from Kunal Kohli to do background score for Hum Tum. While working on Hum Tum, I got Aditya Chopra, the producer of Yash Raj, and the director. He he looked at one piece which we did in Hum Tum, the movie, and he said, "Have you composed this?" I said, "Of course we've composed it." And it was kind of like a song. So he said, "You guys do songs as well?" I said, "Of course we do." So then he offered us Neil and Nikki, and then Chuck Day, and it just went on. I mean, we never even planned that this is going to be a career or anything like that. Music was our passion right from the word go. As we were born as children, we were playing music. So yeah.
Absolutely. That's a wonderful story. But Salim, I can't help but ask this question that, end of the day, while you work so closely together, and you're so much in sync, you must have your creative differences as well. So does it come in the way? How do you handle it?
The differences are very creative, and ultimately music wins. You must understand, Arun, about that. Suleiman and me we were born, as musicians, like as in we were very fortunate that genetically we had music, and we studied music together. We listened to music together. We played music together. So all these differences, fights, arguments, we had kind of sorted out, very early in our career. When we were like in our early 20s, we were done with all the arguments and the discomfort of all that stuff. And ultimately music always wins, with our in our arguments, because our arguments are always very creative. It's more like discussions rather than arguments. And music always wins. There's no, like, if he's right with a certain creative musical decision, then then, like I said, music wins.
Absolutely. And what we hear is the culmination of all the efforts that have gone in, including the differences. So it's magic to our ears. So I'm sure, as you say, music definitely wins.
Yeah, like sometimes I compose a song, and then Suleiman tells me, like it happened last night. I composed a song and I sent him a audio file on WhatsApp, and he said, "Bro, you know what? This part sounds like this." So I didn't realize. So that it kind of sounds like that. Now, instead of me, if imagine if I was a solo artist, and if I released it, and the world trolled me that, hey, your song sounds like this so and so song. Suleiman is a great checkpoint for me. He's a great team player. He's he does a great job with rhythms, and with mixing, and kind of creating giving us the song a great palette. So he's a great co-worker with me. He's my perfect partner. He's not just a brother, but he's my partner in music, and he tells me, like, I think this we should check. Like, for instance, we had composed a song called Ali Maula for the movie Qurban. I wasn't sure of this song, but Suleiman insisted that we must play the song to Karan Johar. and and then he insisted that you must sing it. I had never sung a mainstream playback song, but he insisted that you should sing it. Although I personally wanted another singer to sing this song, but Suleiman pushed me to sing it. So it's great between us, like the synergy, the teamwork, the camaraderie, the brotherhood is just so 100%.
So, it would be a great injustice that you mentioned the beautiful song like Ali Mola and maybe not play a couple of bars for us.
Oh, sure. हिम्मते अता करो ओ मददगार मौला अली मौला अली मौला ओ मौला अली मौला अली मौला आप ही हो कुव्वत परवरदिगार मौला अली मौला अली मौला अली मौला ओ मौला अली मौला अली मौला ओ शाहे मर्दा शेरे अज़दा जाफिदा तुम पे मौला अली मौला अली मौला ओ मौला अली मौला अली मौला हिम्मते अता करो ओ मददगार मौला अली मौला अली मौला ओ मौला अली मौला अली मौला आप ही हो कुव्वत परवरदिगार मौला 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 ओ मौला अली मौला अली मौला ओ शाहे मर्दा शेरे अज़दा जाफिदा तुम पे मौला अली मौला अली अली अली
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, see, that's the point, right? I mean, and this has such a nice Sufi strain to it, and this transports you to a different world. I mean, what are we thinking about? We are sitting, in such troubled times, and this is what takes us to a different world. It really elevates us. Thank you for this.
Thank
And
you.
please, I must warn you, this is not the first request. These will keep coming.
Honestly, these songs are like it's all our songs are just so close to us. It's been a while that, we performed them live. So
Mm.
I love doing these things. So don't feel hard to make those requests.
So coming to this, so there's a very strong Sufi influence in most of the music that you create. In fact,
Yeah.
when I listen to the song Tauba Tauba from Kal,
Yeah.
okay, it's a very peppish poppy number, but then if you see the strains, there are distinct Sufi strains in it. I mean, it sort of permeates all across all your music. So what's been your thought process behind this?
So Arunabha, I'm very fortunate that when we were growing up, I had great influences. I studied with Ustad Sultan Khan Sahab, and I was, in guidance from Ustad Zakir Hussain Sahab. So our upbringing was really amazing. We also belong to the Ismaili community, which believes in the philosophy of Islam and the spirituality and the power of devotion. And from my early years were I was always very attracted to Sufi songs, to bhajans, to even hymns. Like in my school, I used to play the church organ because I was very young. At a very young age, I was playing keyboards when I was in my seventh, eighth standard, and our school had a old church organ, so they wanted. So it's not just Islamic as my faith, but I was always attracted to bhajans as well. And then one day long ago I went to Amritsar, at the Golden Temple, and I realized that I belong here somehow, because in my past birth I was like a Sikh. I'm pretty sure about it. Um, and because that kirtan and that ardas, which I heard, kind of really like deeply affected me in a very spiritual kind of way. So I was always attracted to that, and I was very fortunate that we when we did the movie talking about Tauba Tauba, we did the movie when we did the movie Kal. I just had an idea of doing a kavali with a hip hop kind of a pop kind of a beat,
Yeah.
and I came up with like Tauba Tauba, Ishq mein kariya. I just came up with that, and I felt maybe it can be a nice kind of a start for a Qawwali song. And I sang it to Suleiman, and he said, he designed the whole Qawwali rhythm, and he put some hip hop beats, and we made the song. And like Karan really, although the movie had nothing to do with any Sufi strings or anything like that,
Yeah.
but he just liked the vibe, and that gave us a strength. Now, fortunately, that song became such a massive hit, and followed by songs like from Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi, and the late Yash Chopra gave me told me to go back to Amritsar and spend some time in Amritsar for 2-3 days and go to the Gurudwara, Golden Temple, which I did because a big part of Rabne Banadi Jodi was shot at the Golden Temple in Amritsar, a very crucial part. And I needed to, he wanted me to embrace the devotion of the Golden Temple, and we did that. And that's why when you listen to Tujh Mein Rab Dikhta Hai Yara Main Kya Karu, you feel that there is a certain kind of even though it's a love song, it is a love song, but it has a certain kind of a devotion. Similarly with Qurban, when we made Shukran Allah, in the story there was this in the script there was a part where the main character goes to the mosque and he prays to Allah and says, "Thank you, Allah, for the love I have." Now that was part of the script, and after that the song came in. So we had made the song, which was like नजरों से नजरें मिली तो जन्नत सी महकी फिजाएं लब नीचो लब छू लिया तो आसमां से बरसे दुआएं ऐसी अपनी मोहब्बत ऐसी रूह ये इबादत हम पे मेहरबान हो जहां गाना हो गया था. I'd finished the song, but something was missing. I felt something was missing. And because the story started, the narration of the situation of the song was such that the main character, played by Saif Ali Khan, goes to the mosque and prays and says, "Thank you, Allah." I felt like it would be great to start the song with Shukran Allah walhamdulillah Shukran Allah walhamdulillah Shukran Allah walhamdulillah. Suddenly the song had life. It had a kind of a timeless feel to it. It had a very devotional touch to it. And that's what made the song special. And the song was called Shukran Allah. So these things, I feel that there is a little bit of it happens for a reason. There is devotional music has been going on for centuries and will continue to go on for centuries. Today, when Ganesha sets in, there's Jayadev 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 Jay Mangal Murti Lara. So wo jo bhajan hai, that aarti, it is going on for centuries and it will continue for centuries, I feel. Because that's what makes it timeless. Fortunately for some of our Hindi songs we've done, there was a backdrop of this kind of Sufiana feel to it. Be it Tujh Mein Rab Dikhta Hai, be it Shukran Allah, or be it even Maula Mere Lele Meri Jaan from the movie Chak De India. And that was of course that had a Sufi connect with the country. Like we keep saying Bharat Mata. It has this thing of like Maula Mere Lele Meri Jaan. Here Maula's context is the country. Is for our country,
Right.
India. And it comes in such a very crucial part of the film where the main character Kabir Khan, played by Shah Rukh Khan, looks at everybody celebrating that India's won women's hockey World Cup, and And Shah Rukh is just looking at the flag at Tiranga and he's crying. He's got tears in his eyes. He can't control his tears. And that patriotism, that devotion for the country was the moment for Maula Mere Lele Meri Jaan. And I felt that, at that point it was it brought in such a beautiful, it hit such a great spot in your heart.
Yeah,
So,
it is all about redemption, because in that film, and when the song actually takes off in the movie, it was picturized where Shah Rukh and his mother come back to where they used to live earlier,
yeah,
and where they were branded. I mean, where he was branded as a person who was disloyal to the country,
traitor.
because people thought that he'd lost the match when he was playing, and
Right.
then you know. I'm obviously going to request you to sing a couple of lines from Bola Mere Lele Meri Jaan.
I was
So
going to do it. It's even though you did, because it's one of our most favorite songs. तीजा तेरा रंग था मैं तो तीजा तेरा रंग था मैं तो जिया तेरे ढंग से मैं तो तू ही था मौला तू ही या मौला मेरे लिए मेरी जान मौला मेरे लिए मेरी तीजा तेरा रंग था मैं तो तीजा तेरा रंग था मैं तो जिया तेरे ढंग से मैं तो तू ही था मौला तू ही मौला मेरे लिए मेरी जान मौला मेरे लिए मेरी जान
that's beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Salim.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we've got a couple of very interesting questions from the audience. Can we take a couple of them then?
Of course, all by all
So,
means.
so we have a question from Arvind Bhola, who's
Yeah.
asking you, any special moment or miracle you came across, as I have heard that singing makes oneself connected to the Almighty Lord instantly.
I surely felt when we composed Ali Maula, it choked me because I felt like it wasn't us. It wasn't us. I felt like it was definitely a blessing from the divine. It was a power that was showering upon us to make this composition, and I don't know, like when I हिम्मत अता करो ओ मददगार this part ओ मददगार this part especially I don't know how it happened. It just happened. It was some things are you can't explain. It was definitely a divine connection, a divine
Divine, yeah,
intervention
absolutely.
that I felt like and similarly even तू ही था मौला तू ही आ मौला मेरे लिए मेरी जान. This also felt like there was a divine intervention here. It wasn't us. It felt like there was a powerful blessing coming from above, empowering us to make this song, and we are
Absolutely,
fortunate.
and it happens, Salim, and especially when I love listening to music, and when you hear these songs, you are transported to a different world. Then things around you, material things, don't matter. At least
Yeah,
for those few minutes. I mean, you're just somewhere else.
and although I keep saying that, although it's the composition is by Salim Suleiman, it's not us. Yeah. It's a powerful divine force that drives us to make these songs. I mean, think about it. We've also made songs like, Kurba hua, ha, 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 ha. Ada pe, wafa pe, jafa pe, kurba. So we made songs like that as well. But when we make devotional songs, I feel like it is power from above, a kind of like a blessing from above that gives us that push to go in that
But
direction.
Salim, very intriguing because when you hear the opening bars of Ave Ave, it's
Yeah,
almost like a grunge feel, right?
yeah, it
Right?
is. It's like
And
it's
then
got like a
and
guitar vibe.
yeah, and then you get transported into this Delhi wedding,
Correct, correct.
and instantly the mood changes. So
Yeah.
I think this talks volumes about the way you've been able to merge Western classical, Western music, rock music, and Indian traditional music.
Blessed and thankful to all the movies that we've done. They pushed us to make music like that. Chak De India made us make Chak De India. We've composed the song. It's not our song anymore. It's the country's song. The country sings it during every calendar Indian calendar date or any sporting event.
Right.
Chak De India has to play. So it is a song that is composed by Salim Suleiman, but it's now no more ours. It's the world's. It's India's. So we are really fortunate. Like Kurban pushed us to do Sufi kind of music. Same with Rabne Banadi Jodi. It had a dance pe chance also, but it had a Tujhme Rab Dikhta Hai also. It also had a Hame Rahi Pyar Ke Phir Milenge Chalte Chalte. It was like a dedication to all the yesteryears and the era back then. And of course, fashion had some kind of very new sort of sensational, kind of vibes. It had, some interesting elements. Band Baja was very weddingish, Indian weddingish. And Aja Nachle was really artistic as well, like with Ore Pia and, Aja Nachle and Ishq Hua. And so we are really fortunate that we worked on movies that gave us that push to, kind of make music, which was even like films like Luck, although they didn't do really well at the box office, but like Khudaya mein हाय इश्क है कैसा ये अजीब वे खुदाया वे हाय इश्क है कैसा ये अजीब songs like that, which are like really, the romantic songs, beautiful songs. We are happy that we got moments of a great time where Indian cinema was not pressurized to do remakes. Indian cinema was not pressurized to do sort of songs which sounded like something or like create hits, but do good music with a good purpose of winning people's hearts. And we
Right.
were fortunate that we worked on some interesting films that gave us that opportunity.
We have a question from Nishtha Sadvelkar, who's saying, big fan of all your music, but you guys have some masterpieces in creating background scores as well. Curious to know your creative process for composing background score for movies.
Great question. One thing I realized, Arun, about that music, background music, especially when we started earlier in our career, we used to do a lot of background scores. And when I say we used to do a lot, not just a lot of movies, but we used to fill up our scores with music. And I started kind of realizing that that is not something that creatively gives me a good satisfaction. And I started realizing that, certain movies don't require that kind of score. And I understood one thing, that a good person who knows background music really knows where not to do music. Everybody knows where to do music. But when you have a great scene, when you have a great actor, when you have a great passage of dialogue, something very important, being said, not always does it require background music. Sometimes by just adding something minimalistic or not doing any music can do wonders. A good background score composer knows when to shut up and not play music.
Absolutely.
Not to, that only comes with experience, and that only comes with a lot of love for cinema and the knowledge for cinema. This happens over a period of time. You can't like come, even though you may have studied film scoring at some the biggest music schools, it just doesn't come to you. What experience teaches you, no school or no course can teach you. So with experience, I realized that we must be very selective in where we should score background. That way, the audience is really, really engrossed and catches the narrative of the film rather than just blindly, being spoon fed. That please feel sad, feel happy, feel anger, get tension. No, the audience should the background score should act like a subtext, should play a
Right.
character in the film
Right.
and not spoon feed the audience.
Fantastic.
That happens with experience, Arunabha. It doesn't just happen like that. And
Completely.
I'm very fortunate that karte karte karte, I've got to learn a few tricks. But the music is like an ocean. Jitna duboge, the more you drown, the better it feels.
Completely.
You can't just
Completely.
swim in the ocean and cross the ocean and get on another surface. That's not music. You have to drown in this ocean.
Completely. So Salim, that brings us to a very interesting part of our talk today. It's a section we call down memory lane,
Okay.
and we must confess we've done some snooping around, and we've got some pictures of you. We
Oh
won't
my
tell you the
God.
sources. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll quickly show you five pictures, and we'll ask you to give us the background, what happened, what is the story, and you know.
Okay.
So without further ado, can I have the first picture, please?
Oh my God.
So where was this, and how old were you at that time?
Wow, this was a long time ago. Okay. So, Suleiman and I, can you see those stickers on my keyboard? It's really crazy.
Yeah,
Man, see the lower keyboard has stickers.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Right.
mean, I was probably 18 or yeah, 18, 19 maybe. Yeah. So after school, let me confess that I didn't. I went to college just for 6 months to KC College in Mumbai. I only went for 6 months because I decided to study music, and I did a course of Trinity College Music London, which was a corresponding course. But at that time, we were doing a lot of Suleiman and I were doing a lot of concerts. We were doing some recordings for some composers, etc., etc. And we had collected some money, and we took a big fat loan. I think it was from HSBC only. I'm not sure because
Wow.
we have an account with HSBC for the longest time, and we bought a small place in Khar in Mumbai, and this was at our car. It was like a bachelor's pad. Like me, I was just
Yeah.
18, 17 or 18, and Suleiman was 21. And we set up our entire, if you can see right next to me, Suleiman's Octopad, his drum setup right next to me.
Yeah.
There's this pad kind of thing, which is his
Yeah.
electronic kit. And yeah, so we bought a little place, and it was like a practice pad slash home studio kind of thing. This is such an amazing photo, man. I want a picture. I just, it's a great memory. I'm going to post it on Instagram as soon as we're done with this.
We look forward
Um,
to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so yeah, basically we started doing a lot of our work from here, yeah, at the age of 18, 19. My parents, our parents and our we used to live in a joint family earlier at our home in town, and they were sort of done with us playing music till late, and you can see the speakers and all, they're pretty loud, so every neighbors used to have problems and stuff like that. So we just decided to buy a small little hole in the wall, kind of like a one studio apartment kind of a thing. And this was that apartment which we bought at the age of I was 18 and Suleiman was 21. We collected some money, from all our concerts we did, from our shows. We had started doing shows right from the age of 15, 16. So 3, 4 years ka earnings, and then we bought this. Was very, very special. This is our car, our first studio in car.
Wow. Okay. So let's see what the next picture has in store for us. Oh, this
Oh my
must have been your
God.
starstruck moment, right?
Okay, let me tell you, this, God, these pictures are epic, yeah. How did you get these photos?
Oh, well, we did a search.
Awesome. So,
This must have been your starstruck moment, right?
it was indeed, and also it was very, very important for me because Suleiman and I, this was the first ever music award in India, the first ever. We used to have film awards, which was Filmfare, Screen, etc., etc. But back then, I'm talking about in the year 1992 or 93 maybe. This was an award which started was called, Super Hit Mukabla used to happen. Super
Yeah,
Hit
yeah, yeah.
Mukabla,
Yeah,
which
Super
was
Hit
like
Mukabla.
Super Hit Mukabla started doing Super Hit Mukabla Awards, which was Sumo Awards. It was the first music awards, and we won this award for a song, for a non-film song called Gori Gori from the album Voodoo Rapper and Chitra. It was called Raga Raga. The album was called Raga Raga, and it happened in 1992. And
Brilliant.
it's very important for me this moment because our father had tears in his eyes when we received this award, and he was with us in the audience. My mom and my dad were in the audience, and they were with us. And when we came back on our seats, he was crying. So he was like, it was very, very
Special.
emotional. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, the next one. Wow. Okay, so you are completely engrossed in the performance. Where was this?
Wow, this is amazing. So this is a performance which I did for a friend who got married in Andhra Pradesh, I think in Hyderabad or something, and I had traveled there for his wedding, and then I sang for his wedding. I sang a song. I dedicated a song for for his big day,
Wow.
and wow, this was again a special memory. I can't believe you have this. Thank you for cherishing this.
Great, great. Quickly, the next one, please. Okay, so what's
Oh,
this? Where is this now?
this is a very, very epic moment for me. I'm with my two brothers, my brother Suleiman and my other brother Karsh Kale, a very, very famous
Oh, okay.
musician from New York and now from India, and a very dear friend of mine. And we are with our hero, Mr. Peter Gabriel, the one and only Peter Gabriel. This was in 2013 when we traveled to the UK to perform at WOMAD, World Music Festival.
One more. Yeah.
And it was a very proud moment because we were the very few Indian artists to be invited to WOMAD Festival. And Suleiman and I, were very like we are really big fans of Peter Gabriel. So this was a picture with him, with his grandson. That's his grandson.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, in fact, Peter Gabriel used to be a regular feature on MTV in the good old days.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and we have one last picture for you, Salim. Oh, wow.
Oh, so here it is. Our biggest idol, my hero, my guru, and the one and only Ustad Zakir Hussain, um, a person who's our father figure, who's our not only just our guide, but our guru, our everything. I mean, he's really the one whose path we followed very closely, not only just as musicians, but as human beings as well. The person on the left is my brother Suleiman, and I'm the
Absolutely.
guy behind in the striped shirt watching him. This was at a concert called Time and Tal, which happened in late 80s. I was probably 16 or uh, I don't know, maybe yeah, like no, not even 16. I was like 13. Sorry, it happened in late 80s. Yeah. Um, and it happened in Rang Bhavan. This is a concert called Time and Tal, which featured Ustad Zakir Hussain, Billy Cobham, Viku Vinayak Ram, and Sivamani.
Mhm. In fact, Salim, I came across a YouTube video where you were. It was a sort of like a jam session where you were there. Shankar was there. I think it was Rakesh Mehra who was videotaping this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
It was so Shankar and me share the same birthday,
Oh wow.
uh, and this was on 3rd of March. So it happened on our birthday. Basically, we share the same birthday. Shankar and me have the same birthday. So it was at Shankar's new home in Vashi, and he invited. Obviously, we always get together on our birthday because we share the same birthdays.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So, thanks for this. I think I hope you also took a trip down memory lane with these pictures.
Oh,
This
this
could
was
be.
the finest 41 minutes in the last 3 months I've spent. Thank you, Arunava.
Okay, so quickly, let's take a couple of more questions from the audience. They're very eager to ask you. Um, so Sharda asks, there is a lot of talent in the industry. How do you keep yourself up to speed with new technology?
Uh, I am a geek myself. I've been a geek all my life. And I mean, it's technology is uh, it's very infectious to me from a very young age. Be it be it new sounds, be it new software. I was Suleiman and I were probably the first guys in India to embrace computers when it came to music. I think the only other guy I can think of is A.R. Rahman, who was in Chennai at that time, who was working on a computer-based software with music. Um, and I had heard about a guy called Dilip, who was and Dilip was then became A.R. Rahman. So from a very young age, we were sort of attracted to technology and attracted to computers and softwares and hardwares Suleiman especially is a genius with technology.
Fantastic. So, Salim, very curious to know, apart from being the sensation that you are within India, you've also taken the leap and you've collaborated with some very, very big international stars. You've collaborated with Lady Gaga. You've done something with her. You've collaborated with Enrique, and I think one very proud moment for you would be the 2010 World Cup, where you collaborated with Loiso, Bala, and Eric in creating the theme called Africa, You're a Star. So, what was your experience like working with such big international stars?
It was life changing, buddy. It was life changing. I first of all, with Lady Gaga, it was just one of the nights I just got a call from Universal, India, and said that Lady Gaga's management wants to get in touch with you. So are you okay to get on a call? It was 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. and it was, I guess, 10 a.m. in LA or something like that. So I said, okay, come on, let's get on a call at midnight. So we got on a call, and they were very excited to for us to do another version for Born This Way, and they were very clear that they didn't want they wanted it very desi, they wanted it very Indian, and uh, and they sent us all the tracks, Lady Gaga's tracks, and all that. And so I asked them how much time do they have, and they said we have only 2 days
Wow.
because they wanted to do a simultaneous release in India and all over the world. So I said, okay, cool. We just spent 48 hours without sleeping and we made it. And so that was that was amazing. And Lady Gaga personally, texted us and she really liked it and it was nice. Um, Same thing happened with Enrique. Very excited. Again, the management called us and, we did I'm a Freak with Enrique. But really I would say the FIFA World Cup changed our lives because for the first time in 2010 we performed in front of 90,000 people just before Black Eyed Peas came on. It was Salim Suleiman's slot to perform Africa You're a Star, and it was incredible. I mean, I can't tell you. There were so many Indian and Pakistani and Bangladeshi fans in
Mhm.
at the Johannesburg Stadium, where the opening ceremony happened, and they just cheered us, and we were like, there was a huge roar, like 90,000 people screaming. It was incredible. It just felt something. It was unreal, unreal.
Absolutely. Salim, I'll get hiccups because there are a lot of people who are cursing me for not asking you to sing a song. Okay,
Which
so
one?
Ashai seems to be a big request.
कुछ पाने की हो आस पास कोई अरमा हो जो खास खास आशाएं हर कोशिश पे हो बार बार करे दरियाओं को आर पार आशाएं तूफानों को चिर के मंजिलों को चिर ले आशाएं कुछ भी आशाएं खिले दिल की उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी नहीं कुछ भी आशाएं.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so Salim, again, I'm taking you to some a round where you'll really have to think quickly and give me quick responses. It's a rapid fire round, and I'll give you 5 questions. You know the work, you know the drill, right? So can we jump straight into it?
Go ahead, go for it.
Okay, and this is a redundant question because I know the answer. If you spontaneously had to do a performance, what would be your go-to instrument of choice? I think it's right next to you. Yeah, great. Okay, Indian classical or Western music?
Indian classical.
Favorite singer in the last decade?
Sukhwinder Singh.
Okay, apart from your own compositions, is there any one album which you wish you had created?
Bombay.
Most memorable live performance?
FIFA 2010.
Absolutely, couldn't get any bit bigger, right? Fantastic. The next part of our rapid fire actually is again something where we'll give you 5 words, and we'll request you to sing the song that comes to mind when you think of these words.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first one, maybe you could sing a couple of lines more from the song that you just sang, but the word is hope, or if you have another song for it.
This is not really hope, but it's very reflective of hope. So ये हौसला कैसे झुके ये आरज़ू कैसे रुके ये हौसला कैसे झुके ये आरज़ू कैसे रुके मंजिल मुश्किल तो क्या धुंधला साहिल तो क्या तन्हा ये दिल तो क्या तेरे नाना तो ना तेरे ये हौसला कैसे झुके ये आरज़ू कैसे रुके.
Superb. Okay, the next one, happiness.
उड़ जाए लेके खुशी अपने संग तुझको वहाँ जन्नत से मुलाकात हो पूरी हो तेरी हर दुआ आशाएं खिले दिल की.
Celebration. This is this song is kind of celebration. कुछ करिए दस दस मेरी खोले है कुछ करिए कुछ करिए बस बड़ा बोले अब कुछ करिए कोई तो चले जिद पड़ी डूबे तरिए हमारे हाँ कोई तो चले जिद पड़ी डूबे तरिए हमारे चक दे इंडिया चक दे इंडिया चक दे इंडिया चक दे इंडिया. Awesome. Okay, if you've caught your breath, gratitude.
Uh, I guess I've done it before. Shukran Allah, walhamdulillah. Shukran Allah, walhamdulillah.
Beautiful. And finally, motivation.
Oh God. Okay, I'm just thinking. Uh, I've sung this song, but this part I really love. राह पे कांटे बिखरे अगर उस पे तो फिर भी चलना ही है शाम छुपा दे सूरज मगर रात को एक दिन ढलना ही है रातें ढल जाएगी हिम्मत रंग लाएगी सुबह फिर आएगी तो ना तेरे नाना तेरे नाना तो ना ये हौसला कैसे झुके.
Fantastic. So, Salim, one last question to you. You've recently launched your own record label,
जी.
Suleiman and you, Merchant Records. So, what is the motivation behind it, and what do you plan to achieve with this record label? You're also promoting new talent in the industry, right? So, how do you plan to
Absolutely.
do it?
It's time to give back, Arunava. It's time to give back to society. It's time to give back to the audience for the love that we've received. I personally feel there's some incredible talent in our country, and there are some amazing songwriters. There are some great lyricists. There are some lovely artists. A creative community that doesn't want to go through the politics of the music mafia. And it's a it's a it's sad to say, but the so-called record labels in the name of non-film music are not really creating a different niche for music listeners. I feel there is a lot of appetite for the music listeners to bring some music which is non-committed to films and not bound by movies. Sadly, the labels that are making non-film music also are making music that is kind of filmy, has a very commercial and a very a typical sound. We as artists thought that we should make a label which is a boutique label, and a label that is making music without any pressures of doing millions of views on YouTube, of doing
Correct.
millions of streams on Spotify and other streaming sites.
Yeah.
Good music will always be loved. When we made Ore Pia, when we made songs like Shukran Allah, we didn't think of commercial music. We didn't think of Maula Mere. Ye Hausla was not a commercial venture. It was soulful. It was beautiful, and we thought it would be great to come out with soulful, beautiful music without any boundaries. It could be folk, it could be devotional, it could be thumri, it could even be Hindi pop without any pressure of making it a big hit and stuff like that. Even
Right.
Punjabi folk music doesn't need to have that typical beat and that auto-tune voice. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So I personally feel that there is a lot of appetite for good music to come out. And Suleiman and I have thought that maybe instead of waiting for that change to happen, we want to be that change. We want to make that change. It is a big responsibility that we are taking. It's a huge amount of investments that we are making from all our savings. But you know what? If I don't do it now, I don't know who will do it. And I don't want to wait for that person to be that change. I'm diving into it. Hopefully, we will get the support from people, from our listeners, from our music, and we are getting an amazing response from our musician fraternity, from our artistic fraternity. Everybody wants to do a song with Merchant Records, and I'm so thankful to everybody from our creative community. But here it is for the listeners to go to Merchant Records to have a lot of freedom, to have a lot of scope with music, doesn't have any boundaries.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that, because what I was going to say next is absolutely along those lines. See, Salim, your career that has spanned over all these years. You started as a musician, then you've dabbled in programming. You are
Yeah.
interested in programming. You've been a
Yep.
composer. You've been a singer. So you've collaborated with international stars. Your career has actually sort of personified the phrase that we use, beyond boundaries. And there's a big parallel that I find with what HSBC India is also trying to do with our new
Indeed.
strategy in 2020. In fact, we are trying to go beyond boundaries, and we're trying to break stereotypes and translate thoughts into action. and
Awesome.
and that's what we're endeavoring to do in our retail bank in India for our customers. And your career, as I said, is a testament to this, and we salute you. And so in these tough times, you know you would we would like you to reach out to our audience and your fans as well, and maybe you can give a message that you would like to give uh, for them.
Well, I would say, everybody who's here, who's tuned in, I would say, be thankful. Be thankful that you're healthy. Be thankful that you have food on the table. Be thankful that you have, your health and your loved ones are safe. I know a lot of people have jobs that I don't. I know people have lost their jobs. I know people have, their salaries are cut down. But hey, be thankful that you at least have a shelter. Be thankful that you at least have a little bit of food, and you have a world that is waiting to kind of heal from this pandemic. There's a lot of positivity. There's a lot of scope for new stuff, for new life, for you to change. Be that change. Be the first one to make that change. Be creative. Be thankful. Most importantly, for what you have. Look at the glass half full rather than looking at it as half empty. Just be
Absolutely, absolutely.
positive.
And any last note from you would not be complete without the musical notes. So anything that you would like to leave as a message musically, maybe for our viewers?
I've played a lot of songs. I must say that I want to say, I mean, I can sing another song, but I want to actually say something that over
Please.
these years, our music would have been incomplete if we didn't have you, if we didn't have your support, if we didn't have your love. Our music would have not been the way it is. So a big, big, big thank you to all of you for tuning in and for giving us so much love all our lives, and to continue to inspire us to make great music. Thank you.
It was lovely having you, Salim, and I assure you that on behalf of us at HSBC and your fans and all the viewers who are there today, we wish you all the luck, and we wish Merchant Records the very best going
Thank
forward
you.
as well. Thank you for giving our weekend a fabulous start. We couldn't have asked for anything better. Uh,
Thanks.
Thank you, Salim. And that unfortunately brings us to this edition of Starstruck. But do tune in for the next edition of Starstruck next Friday at 5 p.m. Till then, stay safe, take care, and goodbye.